On today's episode of Pop History Podcast, we get to actually see why we don't need no education. A new feline themed show is opening on Broadway, and it's time for the new fall TV season. All that and so much more. It's time for Pop History Podcast.
Pop History Podcast, 1982.
They're here.
Hello, folks, and welcome to another great episode of Pop History Podcast. I'm your host, Jay Jackson. Today we dive into September 1982, and we'll look at everything that's rad and sad in that month. All while we count down the top 10 Billboard hits of the week of September 11th. You can find all these songs on our playlist on Spotify by searching Pop History Podcast. That's all one word, lowercase. And if you want even more great stuff, find Pop History Podcast on Patreon, where you can become a subscriber for as little as $1 per month and receive access to a bonus episode every month. Let's get to the music.
Number 10.
Earlier this year, Paul McCartney had some help from Stevie Wonder when their single Ebony and Ivory topped the charts. With the second single from his Tug of War album, here is McCartney going at it alone with Take It Away.
Take it away, wanna hear you play till the lights go down. Take it away, don't you wanna stay till there's no one else around. Take it away, wanna hear you play till the lights go down. Take it away, don't you wanna stay till there's no one else around. Lonely driver out on the road with 100 miles to go. So survivor carrying the load switches on his radio. Take it away, wanna hear you play till the lights go down. Down, down. Take it away, don't you wanna stay till there's no one else around. Take it away, wanna hear you play till the lights go down. Down, down. Take it away, don't you wanna stay till there's no one else around. In the audience, watching the show, with a paper in his hand. In his hand, some important impresario has a message for the band. Oh, take it away, wanna hear you play till the lights go down. Down, down. Take it away, don't you wanna stay till there's no one else around. Definitely, maybe listening to you. Maybe listening to you. Maybe listening to you. Take it away, take it away. After hours, late in the bar, by a dark and corner seat, faded flowers wait in the jar till the evening is complete.
He might not have Stevie Wonder on this one, but Paul McCartney got by with a little help from his other friends. Former Beatle Ringo Starr supplies the drum work and also appears in the music video.
Car window look like a vacation wonderland? You need Widget.
What's Widget?
Having trouble trimming wallpaper?
No.
You need Widget.
Widget?
Introducing Widget, the handy scraper and cutter from Gillette. It scrapes, cuts, trims, and handles with ease. Look for Widget where Gillette blades are sold. So, the next time you need help opening a tough box, get Widget. New Widget from Gillette. It's perfect for scores of chores.
Let's take a look at the headlines this month. 2 commercial fishermen off of Hollywood, Florida, catch a 364-pound tiger shark and discover a man's thigh and right leg in its stomach. A tennis shoe was still on the man's foot. Authorities were notified, but they said they wouldn't close any of the beaches. A U.S. Army helicopter crashes onto a West German highway during an air show, killing all 44 on board. A huge bomb destroys the headquarters of Lebanon President-elect Bashir Gemayel in an assassination attempt that buried him in rubble. He survives, but 8 others died in the attack. Hundreds of Palestinians are massacred in Beirut refugee camps by Lebanese Christian militiamen, even though the Israeli troops were just outside the camps. Many of the massacred were women and children. Some 300,000 gather in Tel Aviv to protest the government's war policy and demand the resignations of Prime Minister Menachem Begin and Defense Minister Ariel Sharon. I think I got that right. Woolworth Company announces as closing its 336 Woolco discount stores. The stores, which opened during the 1960s, are primarily located in the southeastern and south-central U.S., and they were a different operation from the traditional 5-and-dime Woolworth stores. President Reagan declares that despite the recession and high unemployment, Americans are better off today than they were before his election. He denies any responsibility for the 14-month-old business slump and blames Democrats of past administrations for overspending and taxing us into a recession. At the end of this month, the Tylenol murders kill 7 people in the Chicago area after someone tampers with packaging and substitutes pills laced with potassium cyanide. No one was ever charged in these crimes, and the case leads to stricter packaging of medicines and other items.
Number 9.
Well, it seems like some songwriters can find some success when they pull back the curtain on their own personal problems. When Graham Nash looked back at the turbulent career of the supergroup Crosby, Stills & Nash, he wrote this song, which would appear on the group's 7th album, Daylight Again, and it would be their first top 10 hit in over 5 years. Here is Crosby, Stills & Nash with Wasted on the Way.
Look around me, I can see my life before me, running rings around the way it used to be. I am older now, I have more than what I wanted, but I wish that I had started long before I did. And there's so much time to make up
At number 9 this week on the Billboard Hot 100 single chart, that was folk group Crosby, Stills and Nash with Wasted on the Way.
I went off to the big bright city, but you chose to stay at home. Now there's so many times I think of you when I'm alone. So I'm sending you this hallmark, and I hope that you will see what I'm really giving you is a part of me.
Give a little of yourself to a friend. Give a Hallmark card.
In Canonsburg, Pennsylvania, a pair of vandals abducted a statue of Ronald McDonald from the playground of a local McDonald's restaurant, and they left a ransom note slipped in the drive-thru window. The note demanded 150 quarter pounders, 150 milkshakes, 1 tab soda, and 150 of their Atari scratch-off game cards. If the loot wasn't left under the slide in the playground, poor Ronald would be dismembered and melted into ashtrays. The note was signed The Hamburglar. Shortly after the police were notified, they spotted the life-size fiberglass statue in a car, and 2 people were arrested, 20-year-old Samuel McLean and 21-year-old Carmine D'Amico. Some groups are calling for the removal of a new candy that recently debuted this summer. They are little miniature mock beer cans filled with candy. They're called Chug-a-Lug, and it comes with a variety of familiar-sounding names like Midler Lowlife, Falstiff, and Lowbrow. Namco releases the new arcade game Pole Position, one of the first arcade games with stereophonic and quadraphonic sound. It becomes the most popular racing game of its time. Beep, 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 beep. I think that's how it went, huh? For the 6th straight year, Volkswagen tops the government's annual mileage rankings. A diesel-powered Volkswagen Rabbit becomes the first vehicle to reach 50 miles per gallon in the annual rankings. The Nissan Sentra and the Honda Civic were also among the better cars for gas mileage.
Nestle Crunch, the blend of milk chocolate and crispy crunchies that's music to your mouth. Creamy milk chocolate is a melody. Crispy crunch is all the harmony. The two together are music to munch. Let's hum a few bars of Nestle Crunch. Good stomping, lip smacking, hee-hawing, thigh slapping. Nestle Crunch is music, sweet music to your mouth.
Let's take a look at the sports world. Following week 2 of the new football season, a strike is called by the NFL, the first regular season walkout in pro football history. Throughout the bargaining sessions, the Players Association has stood firm on its original demand for 55% of the owner's gross revenues. The strike will continue for 57 days and reduce the regular 16-game season to 9 games. Retired quarterback Joe Namath is arrested and charged with drunk driving in Florida. He was reportedly uncooperative with police, refusing alcohol tests and fingerprints. At the U.S. Open Women's Tennis Tournament, Chris Evert wins her 6th and final U.S. title. And over in the U.S. Men's Tennis Open, Jimmy Connors wins his 4th. He has gone by many names throughout his career: Johnny Cougar, John Cougar, John Cougar Mellencamp, and finally back to his birth name, John Mellencamp. When John was getting his start in the mid-1970s, his manager insisted that he release his first album under the name Johnny Cougar. No one ever called him Johnny, insisting that the name Mellencamp was too difficult to market. In a 2005 interview, John says, "That name was put on me by some manager. I went to New York and everyone said, 'You sound like a hillbilly.' And I said, 'Well, I am.' So that's when he comes up with that name. I was totally unaware of it until it showed up on the album jacket. When I object to it, he said, 'Well, either you're going to go for it or we're not going to put the record out.' So that was what I had to do. But I thought the name was pretty silly." Whatever you want to call him, His song Hurts So Good is his first to crack in the top 10, making John Cougar a star.
When I was a young boy, zipping away those young boy ways. Now that I'm getting older, so much older, I long for those young boy days with a girl like you, with a girl like you. Lord knows there are things we can do, baby. Just me and you, come on and make it up. Hurt so good. Come on, baby, make it hurt so good. Sometimes love don't feel like it should. Make it hurt so good. Don't have to be so exciting. Just trying to give myself a little bit of fun, yeah. You always look so inviting. You ain't as green as you are young. Hey, baby, it's you. Come on, girl, now it's you. Sink your teeth right through my bones, baby. Let's see what we can do. Come on and make it up. Hurt so good. Come on, baby, make it hurt so good. Sometimes love don't feel like it should. You make it hurt so good. I ain't talking no big deals. I ain't made no plans myself. I ain't talking no high heels. Maybe we could walk around all day long. Walk around all day long. Hurt so good. Come on, baby, make it hurt so good. Sometimes love don't feel like it should. You make it hurt so good. Hurt so good. Come on, baby, now. Come on, baby, make it hurt so good. Sometimes love don't feel like it should. You make it hurt so good.
The music video for Hurt So Good by John Cougar was filmed in Medora, Indiana, just 20 miles from his town that Cougar grew up in. Why they didn't do it there, I don't know. Must be a real...
Saturday, the Love Boat cruises the Mediterranean on the special 2-hour season premiere.
I can't remember the last time you played like that. I can. The last time we played for Michelob Light.
Michelob Light. Compare the taste.
Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
What's new at the local cinema this month?
That bitch Shelley Myers has been crawling all over my back. If inmates start turning up dead, she'll have my ass. Not that it'll look too good.
Cat killed somebody, and I think the warden's trying to cover it up.
Talk to me, bitch! Elizabeth doesn't want anything to do with you. She knows all about you.
It's your job to take care of the inmates.
That's right.
My job. You don't do your job worth shit.
I'm gonna get you, cat! Want it, Jerry? Here, take it. You want me to stick out my neck and wait around for justice? I'll be dead by morning.
The Concrete Jungle, starring Jill St. John. Tracy Bregman, and Barbara Luna as Cat. Coming soon to a theater near you.
A woman is unsuspectingly used to carry her boyfriend's cocaine stash and is caught by airport security. She is tried, convicted, and sent to prison, where she quickly learns to toughen up if she wants to survive. Jill St. John stars as Warden Fletcher in the new Women in Prison film, The Concrete Jungle.
I quit.
Tempest. The story of a man who went from dreaming dreams to living them.
Maybe I'll just find myself an island.
A man who chased magic until it finally caught him.
Show me the magic.
A man who discovered how to make the time of their lives last a lifetime. Tempest, rated PG.
Starts Friday at Lowe's Tower East.
In this loosely based modern-day adaptation of the William Shakespeare play Tempest, John Cassavetes, Gina Rowland, and Susan Sarandon star in the new film from Paul Makursky. Look for a young Molly Ringwald in her film debut.
Where they came from is unknown. What they did was unheard of. If they aren't stopped now, there may be no hope for the future. Endangered species. It's not science fiction anymore.
Robert Urich and JoBeth Williams star in the new sci-fi film Endangered Species. The New York Times found that the movie overall was, quote, dumb. TV Guide was kinder to the movie, giving it 3 out of 5 stars. They found the cast to be excellent and blamed the movie's failure on poor distribution by MGM.
The memories. The madness. The music. The movie. The wall.
We don't need no education. We don't need no thought control. No dark sarcasm in the classroom. Teacher, leave them kids alone. Hey! Teacher, leave them kids alone. All in all, it's just another brick in the wall. All in all, you're just another brick in the wall. The wall.
The album, released in 1979, was a huge hit. Even before a note was recorded for that album, Pink Floyd has always intended to make a film from it. The original plan for the film was to be live footage from the album's tour, with the animation by Gerald Scarfe, and for Pink Floyd bassist Roger Waters himself to star in the lead role. After a few screen tests of Waters as Pink, he was replaced by new wave musician and frontman for the Boomtown Rats, Bob Geldof. It would be his debut film role. With Waters no longer in the starring role, it didn't make sense for the film to feature Pink Floyd footage, so the live film aspect was dropped. Like the album, the film was highly metaphorical, and symbolic imagery and sound are present throughout. The film is mostly driven by music with very little dialogue. It is now best known for its imagery of mental isolation, drug use, war, fascism, and more fun stuff. Director Alan Parker, animator Gerald Scarfe, and writer Roger Waters often clashed on the set of the film, with all three agreeing that the experience was miserable. Despite its turbulent production and the discontent of the creators, the film received generally positive reviews and has since established a cult following.
5 years ago, the Lutz family fled their home in Amityville, New York. They were lucky to escape with their lives. But the previous owners, the Montellis, weren't so lucky. They were caught by the original evil that possessed the house, an evil that drove their son to destroy everything and everyone he loved. Now, Amityville 2, The Possession, rated R.
Starts tomorrow, APCO, Westwood, Paramount, Hollywood, and selected theaters.
Okay, you would think that with a sequel like this, some people would never learn. But actually, this is a prequel to the 1979 original. This one takes the real-life events of the DeFeo family and tries to tell their story. If you're unfamiliar, the original was about a family who moves into a home after a series of grisly murders, and they find out the house is haunted. Well, now the storytellers are going back and telling the story of the murders themselves. Well, kind of. The story is so different from the reality, they changed the family name and the killer. In real life, it was Ronald DeFeo, and in this film version, he's named Sonny Montelli. The film would take in $12 million in its theatrical run, but not even close to the $86 million that the original took in.
In a land torn by conflict, Jacqueline Bisset is the woman who has never known war. Ben Gazzara, Richard Roundtree, and Toshiro Mifune are the men who have never known anything else. And Sir Laurence Olivier is General Douglas MacArthur, who guided their destinies to a place called Incheon, rated PG.
Starts Friday, Blitz Century City, Hollywood Pacific and selected theaters.
Well, that's quite a cast for this epic war film, based on the actual turning point of the Korean War. This film originally premiered way back in May 1981, but it took nearly a year and a half to get a proper wide release. It was having trouble finding a distribution company. But finally, in August of 1982, MGM acquired the rights. The film, which had a $45 million budget, was a huge box office flop and one of the biggest busts of the decade. We used to talk about Heaven's Gate in 1980. This one was even worse. This film is supposedly so bad it's not even been released on VHS or DVD. Have you seen Incheon? Pop History Podcast at yahoo.com.
The whole world applauds when Giorgio opens his mouth.
This is the greatest singer in the world.
But it takes a gorgeous lady doctor to close it.
Not afraid of a shot, are you?
And open it. MGM presents Luciano Pavarotti.
You must promise you will not fall in love with me.
Catherine Harold.
I have no intention of falling in love with you.
Yes, Giorgio. A glorious, uproarious love story. Rated PG.
Now in selected cities. Starts Friday everywhere.
Speaking of box office busts, world-famous Italian tenor Luciano Pavarotti of the Three Tenors makes his big film debut as Giorgio Fini, a world-famous Italian tenor singer who develops anxieties after a poor performance. The film opened to negative reviews and was another flop at the theaters, only taking in just over $2 million.
Number 7.
Following solo albums from Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham, Fleetwood Mac returned to the studio for the band's 13th album, their fourth with the classic lineup. And with the first single from that album, here is Hold Me.
Can you understand me? Baby, don't you hand me a line. Although it doesn't matter, you and me got plenty of time. There's nobody in the future, so baby, let me hand you my love. Oh, now step
Fleetwood Mac with their 7th top 10 hit. That was Hold Me from the album Mirage. Over Labor Day weekend, the Jerry Lewis Telethon raises $28 million, but almost $3 million less than last year. It's the first time in the telethon's 17-year history that pledges didn't exceed the previous year. Jerry Lewis blames it on a sluggish economy and high unemployment. Toy manufacturers agree the hot items this Christmas season are sure to be E.T., Garfield, and Pac-Man. And there's more and more of those scented toys on the market. Speaking of Pac-Man, you don't need quarters anymore. Milton Bradley brings you the Pac-Man board game.
Gobble, gobble, gobble.
Introducing Pac-Man, a new board game from MB Games. You control your Pac-Man as it gobbles up marbles and piles up the points. But watch out for the ghosts. You can move it in or out of the maze, or back in as long as you...
Gobble, gobble, gobble.
And the one who gobbles up most wins. And look out for Frogger, Donkey Kong, Zaxxon, Berserk, and Defender. And, of course, Pac-Man from MB Games.
I actually had that and totally forgot that I had that until I saw the commercial. Crazy. The I Love NY, New York, ads are going into their 5th year. This fall, look for new television ads featuring Elizabeth Taylor, Lauren Bacall, Mickey Rooney, and Lena Horne. We got McDonald's in the news again. This time they're filing a suit against a Burger King, trying to get their new commercials off the air. McDonald's says the Burger King campaign is false and misleading because it portrays McDonald's hamburgers as fried and Burger King hamburgers as broiled, while contending that consumers prefer broiling to frying. The suit also says the ads contain a further misleading claim from Burger King about McDonald's hamburgers. They say that it contains 20% less meat. McDonald's released a statement. Well, when the prices of the hamburgers are taken into account, our McDonald's sandwiches contain as much or more meat than the Burger King hamburger sandwiches.
And now, an exciting message from Burger King.
We know you're watching the game, but you're waiting for something more exciting. Ready? Broiling beef frying nearly 2-to-1 in a coast-to-coast survey. Not better than baseball? Think about it. Nearly 2 out of 3 people chose broiling. Burger King broils. McDonald's and Wendy's fry. Okay, now back to baseball. But the second it's over, everybody up. Click off your sets. Come on to Burger King.
That was a young Leah Thompson starring in that one. Why does the Secret Service want former NBC White House correspondent Judy Woodruff's new book off the shelves? It seems the book jacket of her latest bestseller, This Is Judy Woodruff at the White House, bears a photo of her White House press pass. Over 14,000 copies of the book have been sent to bookstores, and the Secret Service says that the picture is a violation of U.S. code prohibiting the counterfeiting, alteration, or misuse of identity documents. The publisher complies and says it will change the jacket. So if you got one of those original books, it might be worth some. USA Today, a national general interest daily paper, launches this month. It's calling itself the Nation's Newspaper. It begins selling in Baltimore and Washington, D.C., with gradual expansion nationwide. By the end of 1982, US Today has a circulation of over 350,000 copies. Although they have been used here and there over the centuries, the first official emoticon is used this month. Scott Fallman is widely considered to be the first person to create the modern emoticon, as he begins to experiment with multiple punctuation marks to display emotion and replace language. The computer scientists out of Pennsylvania proposed the use of the smiley face and the frowny face using a colon, dash, and parentheses, and he shared it in a message with his peers this month. After a little over a year at the New London Theatre in the West End, Andrew Lloyd Webber's musical Cats makes its Broadway debut. Cats is based on the 1939 poetry collection Old Possum's Book of Practical Cats by T.S. Eliot, and it tells the story of a tribe of cats trying to make a better life for themselves. Cats kicks off the mega musical phenomenon, establishing a global market for musical theater and directing the industry's focus to big-budget blockbusters as well as family and tourist-friendly shows. The musical's profound influences also helped reshape the aesthetic, technology, and marketing of the medium. The London production ran for 21 years and the Broadway for 18, making Cats the longest-running musical in both districts for a number of years. If you never saw Cats, the one song you will remember is this one. This one's called Memory and sang by the character Grizabella.
I must wait for the sunrise. I must think of a new life, and I mustn't give in. When the dawn comes, tonight will be a memory too, and a new day will begin. Sunlight through the trees in summer, endless masquerading, like a flower as the dawn is breaking. The memory is fading. Touch me, it's so easy to leave me all alone with the memory of my days in the sun. If you touch me, you'll understand what happiness is. Look, a new day has
Yeah, just skip over that. Yeah, me too. The hits from coast to coast and beyond. We are counting down the hottest hits as ranked by the Billboard charts in the week of September 11th, 1982. Let's get back to the countdown.
To number 6.
Melissa Manchester comes from a family of hardworking artists. Her father played with the New York Metropolitan Opera, and her mother started her own clothing firm. Melissa herself started a singing career at a young age, and she was discovered by Barry Manilow in the Manhattan club scene in the early 70s. She would score the top 10 70s hits Midnight Blue and Don't Cry Out Loud. With her 10th album, Melissa Manchester is finding more success, and at number 6 this month with You Should Hear How She Talks About You.
So very nice, you should break the ice. Let her know that she's on your mind. What you trying to hide when you know inside she's the best thing you'll ever find. Oh, can't you see it? Don't you think she's feeling the same? Oh, I guarantee it. She's the one who's calling your name. You should
That was Melissa Manchester at number 6 this week, with a song first recorded by Charlie Dore in 1981. The songwriter, Dean Pitchford, admitted that the song's lyrical concept was borrowed from She Loves You by the Beatles. He admitted he was looking for a song where someone tells someone else how someone is in love with them. Makes sense, right? This song would be her last top 40 hit, although she is still around. Her last album came out in 2017 and was called The Fellas.
Meet Charlie and Jan. Jan's using the new Weed Eater power blower to rake a lawn at over 100 miles an hour. Charlie'd have to rake this fast to keep up. Sweeping the driveway? Same thing. See, this Weed Eater power blower uses a powerful blast of air to breeze through grass, dirt, leaves, even light snow. So if you can't rake and sweep this fast, do it at over 100 miles an hour with a Weed Eater power blower.
You'll find your local Weed Eater dealer listed in the Yellow Pages.
We got a whole lot of new music to get through, so pardon me if I'm brief. The Who are setting off on their farewell tour this month, and with it is their 10th studio album, titled It's Hard. The album cover features a young boy playing in a Atari arcade game. It's intended to be a contemporary update to their 1969 song, Pinball Wizard. Kool and the Gang are back with their 14th album, As One. Former Genesis frontman Peter Gabriel is back with his 4th album. This one, like the 4 previous ones, is self-titled. Fans tend to refer to this as Peter Gabriel 4 Security. Also this month, Gabriel releases the 2nd single from the album. This one would make it up to number 29 on the pop charts and would be his first number 1 on the mainstream rock chart. Here is Peter Gabriel with Shock the Monkey. His 1980 single Cars is still getting played on MTV. Can English singer Gary Newman find more success with his 4th album? I, Assassin hit stores this month. Diana Ross is back again. Her 13th solo album is called Silk Electric. English singer Kate Bush releases her critically acclaimed album titled The Dreaming. Still a few years from becoming the 80s icons, Under the Blade is the debut album from heavy metal band Twisted Sister. Love Over Gold is the 4th studio album from Dire Straits. And you might know her from her famous Brothers, or you might know her from seeing her on TV's Good Times or Different Strokes. Now, 16-year-old Janet Jackson is trying to be a music star as well. Her self-titled debut album is released this month, and her kickoff single, Young Love, will be a top 10 hit on the R&B charts. Here's a little bit of Young Love.
I may be young, but I'm not foolish.
Forever, For Always, For Love is Luther Vandross's second studio album. Billy Joel releases his 8th studio album, The Nylon Curtain. Joel later stated this is one of his personal favorites. He said, "It's the recording I'm most proud of, and the material I'm most proud of." I agree, that's one of my favorites. We're definitely got to play some Billy Joel soon. Forever Now is the 3rd album by English rock band The Psychedelic Furs. Depeche Mode is back with their 2nd album, A Broken Frame. Bruce Springsteen releases his 6th album, titled Nebraska. Critics and fans love the stripped-down sound. The tracks were originally intended to be re-recorded with the E Street Band, but Springsteen just loved the way they were and released the songs just as they were. Get Closer is the 11th album by singer-songwriter Linda Ronstadt. Kenny Loggins releases his 4th solo venture. This one is called High Adventure. Sheena Easton is trying to recapture her success from her 1980 debut. Her 3rd release is titled Madness, Money, and Music. The latest from Iggy Pop is called Zombie Birdhouse. One critic said it, quote, reached near legendary status for its oddity. Canadian band Rush returned with their 9th album, Signals. This one features the band's only single to land on the Billboard Top 40. New World Man is the band's biggest hit in the United States, peaking at number 21. So we gotta play some Rush.
He's a rebel and a runner. He's a signal turning green. He's a restless young romantic, wants to run the big machine. He's got a problem with his poisons, but you know we'll find a cure. He's cleaning up the systems to keep his nature pure. Learning to match the beat of the old world man. Learning to catch the heat of the third world man. He's got to make his own mistakes and learn to mend the mess he makes. He's old enough to know what's right, but young enough not to choose it. He's noble enough to win the world, but weak enough to lose it. He's a new world man. He's a radio receiver, tuned to factories and farms. He's a writer.
Hey folks, if you want even more pop history, then sign on to become a Patreon supporter at patreon.com. Patreon. Give $1 a month or more, and you get access to Pop Extra. It's an additional monthly episode where I take a deeper dive into a piece of pop culture. Last month I did something different, and I dove into 1989. Flash forward there, Pop History Podcast style. Just sign on to be a Patreon supporter, and you'll get access to all the past and the new monthly episodes.
Number 5.
At number 5 in the charts this month is the Australian soft rock group Air Supply with Even the Nights Are Better.
I used to think I was tied to a heartache. That was the heartbreak, but now that I found you, even the nights are better. Now that we're here together, even the nights are better since I found you. Oh, 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 even the days are brighter when someone you love's beside you. 'cause now you've made a fire start, and I can see that you feel the same way. I never dreamed there'd be someone to hold me until you told me, and now that I found you, even the nights are better. Now that we're here together, even the nights are better since I found you. Oh, oh, oh. Even the days are brighter when someone you love beside you. Even the nights are better since I found you.
That's Air Supply with their 7th consecutive top 5 hit. That was Even the Nights Are Better.
Thanks. That is humanity. Always have a top thing.
Back in 1982, the fall season was the time for the big 3 networks to put out their new shows. And we have a bunch of classics to talk about here. We're going to go by night. On Sunday nights over on ABC.
Believe it or not.
Jack Palance hosts the new series Ripley's Believe It or Not. They talk about strange, unexpected, and bizarre phenomenon of man and nature. Tell me I'm not the only one who was scared to death of Jack Palance back then, and that theme music didn't help either. Still kinda a little bit. Following Ripley's, you can stay tuned to ABC to catch Aaron Spelling's latest crime drama. Lee Horsley stars as a title character in Matt Houston. Over on CBS on Sundays, right after All in the Family, Sally Struthers formerly starred as Archie Bunker's daughter in All in the Family. Now she's divorced from Mike, and her and Joey left for their own spinoff, Gloria. Now she's working for a veterinarian in a New York suburb. The show co-stars Burgess Meredith. This one will only last 1 season, making it one of the very few spin-offs from All in the Family not to be a success. On Mondays, you can stay tuned to CBS for the new high school comedy, Square Pegs. Sarah Jessica Parker stars in this critically acclaimed and highly rated series. So why did it only last 1 season? Well, you can find out on our Patreon exclusive episode, where I am going to dive in to Square Pegs and tell you all about it. Sign on, patreon.com, minimum of $1 a month. You can give more. You better tune in quick to these new shows on Wednesday nights. They're not going to last long. Over on ABC is a blatant Raiders of the Lost Ark ripoff called Tales of the Gold Monkey, and it would last 22 episodes. And the musical series 7 Brides for 7 Brothers also is only going to last 1 season. This one's over on CBS. But on Wednesdays, NBC is going to score a hit with their new show that comes on after The Facts of Life.
I bet we've been together for 1,000,000 years, and I bet we'll be together for 1,000,000 more. It's like I started breathing on the night we kissed. Well, I can't remember what I ever did before. What will we do, baby, without us? What will we do, baby, without us? And there ain't no nothing we can't love each other love through. What would we do, baby, without us? Sha-la-la-la.
Meredith Baxter Birney and Michael Gross star as a couple who came of age in the 1960s, and they're now trying to raise their children in the conservative 1980s. The show co-stars Justine Bateman, Tina Yothers, and this young star that shows some great potential, Michael J. Fox. Over on Thursday nights, ABC has moved its new hit Joni Loves Chachi to this night, and it's following up with a couple of new shows. There's Star of the Family with Brian Dennehy. That one lasts 10 episodes. And It Takes Two, starring Richard Crenna and Patty Duke Austin. That one will actually last 22 episodes. But It Takes Two will be sold to syndication, so you might see that later on. On Thursdays, NBC is hoping their new show is going to do well with viewers. They put it right between the hit dance show Fame and right before Taxi, which is debuting on the Peacock Network after originally airing on CBS. This new barroom comedy titled Cheers stars Ted Danson and Shelley Long.
Making your way in the world today takes everything you've got. Taking a break from all your worries sure would help a lot. Wouldn't you like to get away? Sometimes you wanna go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. You wanna be where you can see our troubles are all the same. You wanna be where everybody knows your name. You wanna go where people know people are all the same. You wanna go where everybody knows your name.
Friday nights brings us a new twist on an old favorite. Ron Glass from Barney Miller and Damon Wilson of Sanford & Son join forces to become the new Odd Couple on CBS. It sounds like great casting, but the show only lasts 18 episodes. NBC scores the hit on Friday nights. I'll just let the theme song here tell you everything you need to know.
A shadowy flight into the dangerous world of a man who does not exist. Michael Knight, a young loner on a crusade to champion the cause of the innocent, the helpless, the powerless, in a world of criminals who operate above the law.
And we got one more. On Saturday nights this month, the NBC sitcom Silver Spoons makes its debut. It stars Ricky Schroeder. He's best known for the 1979 film The Champ. Also starring is Aaron Gray, Joel Higgins, and a young Alfonso Ribeiro. And that's all we got for new TV this month, but we got a few coming in October too.
I was known as one of the meanest players in hockey, but I didn't deserve that, right? I'm just a nice guy who comes in and has a few light beers from Miller with the boys. A pussycat who drinks light because it's less filling, and it tastes great. Really, if I was a nasty player, may a lightning bolt come down and strike this very spot.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
Number 4.
Let's count down the top 5 albums on the Billboard 200 chart this month. At number 5 is Robert Plant with Pictures at 11. The Steve Miller Band is holding strong at number 4 with Abracadabra. Eye of the Tiger by Survivor is at number 3. You heard some Fleetwood Mac earlier. Their album Mirage is at number 2. And at number 1, well, it seems like it's John Cougar's month. He has Hurt So Good. You already heard that in the top 10. His American Fool is at the top of the charts, which is why I'm talking about it right now. But he also has a second song in the top 10 this month. Here at number 4 is John Cougar again, this time with Jack and Diane.
Little ditty about Jack and Diane, two American kids growing up in the heartland. Jackie gonna be a football star, Diane's debutante backseat of Jackie's car. Sucking on chili dog outside the Taste Freeze. Diane sitting on Jackie's lap, got his hands between her knees. Jackie say, hey Diane, let's run off behind the shady trees. Dribble off those Bobby Brooks, let me do what I please. Say, oh yeah, life goes on long after the thrill of living is gone. Say, oh yeah, life goes on long after the thrill of living is gone. To walk on. Jackie sits back, collects his thoughts for the moment, scratches his head and does his best James Dean. Well, then there and Diane gotta run off to the city. Diane says, baby, you ain't missing nothing. But Jackie say, oh yeah, life goes on long after the thrill of living is gone. Oh yeah, let's say life goes on long after the thrill of living is gone. So let it rock, let it roll, let the Bible belt come and save my soul. Hold on to 16 as long as you can. Changes come around real soon, make us women and men. Oh yeah, life goes on long after the thrill of living is gone. Oh yeah, we say life goes on long after the thrill of living is gone. A little ditty about Jack and Diane, two American kids doing the best they can.
Let's take a look at the news on the boob tube. At the 1982 Emmy Awards, the big winners of the night are, in the comedy field, Barney Miller, Alan Alda, and Carol Kane took home the big awards. Over on the drama side, Hill Street Blues, Daniel Travanti, and Michael Leonard were the big winners. Although cable television is booming, everything's not coming up roses for everybody. The arts channel CBS Cable is shutting down. CBS says it lost $25 million on that venture. Husband and wife team Susan Clark and Alex Karras star in the new CBS TV movie Made in America. That's M-A-I-D. It wouldn't be the last time the couple would work together. They'll both star in the 1983 sitcom Webster. Earlier this year, Tom Wopat and John Schneider quit the CBS action series The Dukes of Hazzard as a result of a contract dispute. And their characters, Bo and Luke Duke, are now written out of the series as leaving and joining a NASCAR team. They are replaced this month by cousins Coy and Vance Duke. Well, ratings will immediately sink for the show, and producers were in panic mode. Before the end of the season, the show's fifth, Wopat and Schneider will be brought back to Hazard County, and Coy and Vance will become just a distant memory. Okay, this led me to think about the whole Duke family. We got Bo Duke, Luke Duke, cousins. Daisy Duke, cousin. Coy and Vance Duke, cousins. Uncle Jesse is the uncle. Where are these dudes' parents? Why are they all single siblings? Why are there no siblings involved? Yeah, actually, I fell into a long rabbit hole on this, and I found some website that actually tries to explain it as much as they can. So, Comedian Julia Louis-Dreyfus begins taking her little steps to superstardom. She's one of the new cast members on the 8th season of NBC's Saturday Night Live. After 7 years on the PBS series Sneak Previews, Chicago-based film critics Roger Ebert and Gene Siskel take the exact same format to national syndication in their new show, At the Movies. Personally, I was a Sneak Previews fan myself. There's a ton of new programming on Saturday mornings for the fall season. NBC is debuting The Gary Coleman Show and The Incredible Hulk. ABC has a bunch of new stuff. They got The Little Rascals, the Mork and Mindy, Laverne and Shirley Fonz Hour, the Pac-Man cartoon, and the Scooby and Scrappy-Doo Puppy Hour. For the latter, they brought in new characters like Cowdog Yabba-Doo, and the show also features the Puppy Adventures cartoons.
Let's get him, Uncle Yabba! Yippity yappity doo!
The Scooby and Scrappy-Doo Puppy Hour.
The Who Shot JR episode of Dallas in 1980 had the largest viewing audience in the history of U.S. television. Now, although it's 5 months away, CBS is ready for the series finale of their hit show MASH to challenge this. The network execs are confident that a new all-time champion will be crowned in February when the fabulously successful comedy drama ends its 11-season run. Commercial time on the show is already selling for record prices, $900,000 per minute, $100K more than NBC's asking for commercials during their upcoming Super Bowl. After 5 years, actor Robert Young, best known from the hit series Father Knows Best, is let go by General Foods and is no longer the spokesman for Sanka Coffee. and that's okay with him. They decided my commercials have been milked to the limit, he said. I agree with them. They're becoming repetitious and annoying.
And I love this clock. Why so nervous?
Sorry. The doctor says caffeine makes me tense.
Well, don't you drink Sanka brand decaffeinated coffee?
Oh, I bought that for my husband. I only drink real coffee.
Sanka brand is real coffee, and taste it. Try it.
It is real. Real good.
Diane, what's new in antiques?
Everyone says I'm new since I switched to Sanka brand.
Sanka brand. Enjoy your coffee and enjoy yourself.
Billboard ranks them. American Top 40 counted them down many years ago. Now, Pop History Podcast takes you on a trip down memory lane. Let's get back to the countdown.
3.
The United States were one of 6 countries where Abracadabra topped the singles charts. This week, Steve Miller Band's down to number 3 with their latest rock and roll headlines this month. The first US Festival is held for 3 days in Southern California, 60 miles east of Los Angeles. Even though the total attendance was close to 400,000, the festival lost a reported 12 million on the event. Temperatures reached 110 degrees over the Labor Day weekend as fans enjoyed the music of The Police, Talking Heads, Pat Benatar, Tom Petty, Fleetwood Mac, The Grateful Dead. I could keep going on and on. It was a great show. The Cars, many more. I wish I was there. Greg Allman is recovering after being struck with an unopened beer can while performing on stage in Virginia. The rocker got 7 stitches to close the cut over his eye. Now, why would someone toss an unopened beer can? A fire destroys the 500-year-old country home of Rolling Stone Keith Richards near London. Nobody was injured. Singer Teddy Pendergrass is released from a Philadelphia hospital after he was injured in March when his car crashed into a tree. His doctor said, "Well, I don't see him walking again, but that won't have any effect on his singing talents." Billboard magazine publishes an article about how a mental hospital in Hartford, Connecticut has banned MTV after deciding that a steady diet of rock videos would be too enticing for its patients. Speaking of MTV, the music channel is having an influence on record sales all over the country. One record dealer in remote Washington state says, "MTV is the greatest thing that ever happened. Our customers had to go 150 miles each way to Seattle to see touring acts until MTV. I could carry more catalog. All of a sudden, people here know Huey Lewis and the News, the Motels, and the Stray Cats." Another dealer in Turlock, California says, "It's driving me crazy trying to keep up with these new requests. MTV has been in the area, like less than 2 months? Now the customer knows the name of the act, the song, and the album because it's spelled out on the screen." Another operator in Akron, Ohio says MTV is doing quite a bit to help his sales. He says, "Well, I plan on installing a large screen television tuned into the channel. Up until now, I'm just having one of my guys keep me in the loop of what's going on." 22-year-old singer and television personality Marie Osmond announced she is expecting her first child in April. Last June, Osmond married former college basketball player Steve Craig. If you were a listener of K-Rock out of Los Angeles or the old Dr. Demento show, you might remember this rare relic. From Barnes and Barnes, the same duo who brought you Fish Heads back in 1978. Here is their new song, which is not going to make it to the Billboard charts. This is called I Had Sex with E.T.
Oh, I had sex with E.T. It happened late last night. Yes, I had sex with E.T. Now he's creeping out of sight. He's got no hair upside his head, but we made love upon my bed. Oh, I had sex with E.T. Yeah, that's what I just said. I took him through the forest secretly this week. He was romping through the bushes and learning how to speak. He started out a nervous wreck, his wrinkled cheeks, his stretchy neck. Oh, I had sex with E.T. He is so high-tech. Hey, I had sex with E.T. in my closet on the floor. We did it extraterrestrial style, now I'm craving more. His little body's slimy, but I respect his mind. Yes, I had sex with E.T., the close encounter kind. Yes, I had sex with E.T., that wild, crazy gnome. But lately all he wants to do is... oh no. His finger glows, he's got no toes, his breath is alien-like. Oh, I had sex with E.T. while we were on my bike. Yes, I had sex with E.T., but now I'm kind of sad. Steven Spielberg took my bug-eyed love back to his pad. We only did it once or twice. I'll soon have sex with Poltergeist. Yes, I had sex with E.T. Eat him up, yum.
Yeah, I had to play that for you. I found that and you gotta hear that. FYI, the flip side of the track was called I Had Sex with Pac-Man. And it's the same song, just different lyrics. Here's a fun fact. One member of Barnes & Barnes is a former child actor named Bill Mumy. You might know him best as Will Robinson on the 60s CBS series Lost in Space.
2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2.
We are going to go via satellite to our on-location UK correspondent, Jake Johnson, to see what's topping the Tops of the Pops charts across the pond. Top of the morning to you, Jay! This is Jake Johnson reporting from Cockermouth in the UK with your top 5 songs on the Tops of the Pops. Rising up to number 5 is Rocka's Revenge with Walking on Sunshine. At number 4 is Dire Straits with Private Investigations. Sliding down to number 3 this week is Come On Eileen by Dexys Midnight Runners. Duran Duran, they're at number 2 with Save a Prayer. And the number 1 song in the UK is a former number 1 song in the US. This week on the Billboard charts at number 2, here is Survivor with Eye of the Tiger. Occasionally we look back at a track that we think must have made it to the top 10, but in reality it didn't. This month's song that should have but didn't is by the English group The Psychedelic Furs. Love My Way peaked at number 9 in New Zealand, but will only get to number 44 on the Billboard Hot 100 charts. But due to heavy MTV play, the single would not be soon forgotten. It will be featured in the 1983 film Valley Girl and the soundtrack to 1998's The Wedding Singer, as well as the video games Grand Theft Auto Vice City and Rockman. Celebrities born this month include rapper Lil Wayne, actress Lacey Chabert, actor Kieran Culkin, and comedian Whitney Cummings. Those we lost include singing cowboy Jimmy Wakely passes away at the age of 68. He released several records and appeared in numerous Western films. His 1949 hit, Slippin' Around, was a crossover chart topper on the pop singles chart. Character actress Mabel Albertson dies at the age of 81. Albertson is perhaps best known as portraying Darren's mother on the show Bewitched during the 1960s. Monty Stratton, the former Chicago White Sox pitcher who attempted a comeback after losing a leg, dies at the age of 70 due to cancer. Stratton and his story inspired the 1948 motion picture The Stratton Story, starring Jimmy Stewart. And Princess Grace of Monaco suffers multiple fractures after the car she was driving plunges off a winding high road, and she dies in the hospital the following day. Princess Grace was 52. Doctors believe she suffered a stroke before her car plunged off the Riviera Mountain Road. Also in the car was her 17-year-old daughter, Stephanie, who was slightly injured when the car tumbled 120 feet off the road. Before Princess Grace married into royalty in 1956, she was known as Grace Kelly, one of the biggest stars of her time. In just 5 short years, she became a household name with her roles in High Noon, Dial M for Murder, Rear Window, To Catch a Thief, and High Society. In 1954, she won the Academy Award for Best Actress for the film The Country Girl. Then in 1956, at 26 years old, she marries Prince Rainier III of Monaco and immediately retires from acting. Instead, Princess Grace performs her daily duties as a princess and becomes involved in philanthropy. From the 1954 Hitchcock classic Rear Window, here's a scene of Grace Kelly meeting Jimmy Stewart.
How's your leg?
Hurts a little.
And your stomach?
Empty as a football.
And do you love life?
Not too active.
Anything else bothering you?
Mm-hmm. Who are you?
Reading from top to bottom. Lisa. Carol. Fremont.
Is this the Lisa Fremont who never wears the same dress twice?
Only because it's expected of her. It's right off the Paris plane. You think it'll sell?
Well, that depends on the quote, you know. Let's see, now there's the airplane ticket over and import duties, hidden taxes, profit markup.
A steal at $1,100.
$1,100? They ought to list that dress on the stock exchange.
Why, we sell a dozen a day in this price range.
Who buys them? Tax collectors?
Even if I had to pay, it would be worth it. Just for the occasion.
What, something big going on somewhere?
It's going on right here. It's a big night.
Well, it's just an old run-of-the-mill Wednesday. Well, the calendar's full of them.
It's opening night of the last depressing week of L.B. Jeffries in a cast.
Well, I haven't noticed a big demand for tickets or anything.
That's because I bought out the house. You know, the cigarette box has seen better days.
Oh, I picked that up in Shanghai, which has also seen better days.
Before we get to the #1 song in the U.S. on the Billboard pop charts, let's see what's topping the other Billboard charts. The biggest dance club song this month is by Yaz, and it's called Situation. And I had no idea what the song was, and then I heard it, and I'm like, oh, yeah, I know that song.
Blue I dress for every situation, moving through the doorway of a nation. Pick me up and shake the doubt, baby, I can't do without. Don't mess around, you bring me down. How you get about, don't make a sound, smooth I remember only for an hour. don't mess around. You bring me down. How you get about? Don't make sound smooth out.
I remember Jerry Reed as the Snowman in the Smokey and the Bandit films. It wasn't until years later when I found out he was actually a country star. But he tops the country singles chart this week with his latest. This one's called She Got the Gold Mine, I Got the Shaft.
Well, the first few years weren't all that bad. I'll never forget the good times we had, because I'm reminded every month when I send her the child support. Well, it wasn't too long till the lust all died, and I'll admit I wasn't too surprised the day I come home and found my suitcase sitting out on the porch. Well, I tried to get in. She changed the lock. Then I found this note taped on the mailbox that said, "Goodbye, Turkey. My attorney will be in touch." So I decided right then and there I was going to do what's right, give her fair share. But, brother, I didn't know her share was going to be that much. She got the gold mine. I got the share. They split it right down the middle, and then they give her the better half. Well, it all sounds sort of funny, but it hurts too much to laugh. She got the gold mine, I got the shaft.
And at the top of the R&B songs, she was already a legend in 1982, and her status has only grown over the years. Here is Aretha Franklin with Jump to It. So, what is topping the Billboard Hot 100 charts? Find out after this.
The great American pastime, washing the car. You love to keep it clean on the outside. Prestone worries about the inside, about rust building up inside your radiator. If you don't change your antifreeze when you should, you wouldn't believe the rust and corrosion that could be there. See how bad it can get after you put just 10,000 miles on weak, neglected antifreeze? See the Prestone difference? Don't wait. Put in fresh Prestone now. Deep inside, trust Prestone.
Number 1.
They've had plenty of hits, 10 of them in the top 10 since they broke into the scene in 1969. But this month, the band Chicago hits the top of the charts for only the second time in their long career. The first time was in 1976 with the power ballad, If You Leave Me Now. Now, it's another love song for the horror and rock group. The number one song this week in September 1982 is Hard to Say I'm Sorry by Chicago.
Everybody needs a little time away. I heard her say from each other. Even lovers need a holiday. Far away from each other. Hold me now. It's hard for me to say I'm sorry. I just want you to stay. After all that we've been through, up to you. I promise to. And after all that's been said and done, you're just a part of me I can't let go. Couldn't stand to be kept away just for the day from your body. Wouldn't wanna be swept away, far away from the one that I love. Oh, now it's hard for me to say I'm sorry. I just want you to know. Hold me now. I really want to tell you I'm sorry. I could never let you go. After all that we've been through, I will make it up to you. I promise to. And after all that's been said and done, you're just a part of me I can't let go. After all that we've been through, I will make it up to you. I promise to.
That's Chicago-based rock band Chicago with the first single from their Chicago 16 album, Hard to Say I'm Sorry. This track would spend 12 weeks in the top 5 on the charts and 2 weeks at number 1 in September. So I'm guessing we're going to hear this one again. Thanks for listening to Pop History Podcast. Stay tuned for next time when we find out that, other than Rocky Balboa, Stallone has some other iconic characters up his sleeve. Comedian Bob Newhart is returning to television, and a young singer from New York begins her trek to become the 80s Queen of Pop. Thanks for listening, and hit me up on Patreon, Facebook, Instagram, Pop History Podcast at yahoo.com. Black Lives Matter, Kenosha Strong.
This podcast may contain copyright material, the use of which has not been specifically authorized by the copyright owner. Pop History Podcast makes such material available in a selfless effort to advance understanding of pop culture history. We believe this constitutes a fair use of any such copyright material as provided for in Section 107 of the U.S. Copyright Law. In accordance with Title 17, U.S.C. Section 107, this podcast is distributed without profit for those who express an interest in information for research and educational purposes. For more information, go to www.law.cornell.edu.